It only took 2 takes.
That was really good.
I got to put my cans back on.
You got to put your earbuds.
There we go.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, how's it going? It's so weird, like doing it like without the headphones, you don't feel like you're in it. And then
Yeah.
you put the headphones on, it's like, oh, it's go time.
Because you can hear how good we sound.
It's go time.
You know what's amazing?
Very
the
white voice.
The equipment you have is so good that people think we have these very sexy radio voices. And then in real life, we talk like this.
Yeah, I can actually make my voice a little deeper by going like
Barry
that.
Manilow.
Look at that. Yeah.
Ladies.
Be like, this. I guess that's probably what like everybody does just to make their voice. Or let's just go crazy and just can make it like really high. Let's see. Changing all my levels here. I don't even know where I'm going.
You know what's amazing is if you've ever, I know obviously like the joke about, oh, you have a face for radio.
That's me.
But I'm always surprised, like if you do see certain radio personalities, like how different they look compared to their voices. Like my favorite is Elvis Duran. I've been listening to him for years. I love Elvis Duran's morning show. And everybody has like, obviously all these different personalities, but then you see them. Like I've seen photos of like what Elvis Duran looks like.
He's like a really big guy, right?
Yeah, he's shorter. He's like kind of heavy set, but he's just.
He's a really big guy. He's shorter.
But I thought you meant like.
No, like tall.
Wide.
Right? Is he a tall guy?
No, I think he's more wide than tall.
Okay, I don't know.
But he's amazing, and he's so funny. And like you think, like I thought, oh, he must be so cute, and then he wasn't my type.
I listened to a lot of Howard Stern, and everyone knows what he looks like. So it was one of those where like, okay,
he looks like a Muppet, but he has a hot wife.
He's really large. And then there's actually another radio personality. Like I'd hate like the morning zoos and stuff. They're so terrible. God, text in now. Call in now to get your. We're gonna be. At TGI Fridays, come hang out.
Come
it's
stop by.
Oh my God. No, but there's one radio guy that I listen. When I drop off, I spend like 10 minutes in the car.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, Bubba the Love Sponge.
I know Bubba the Love Sponge.
I think I've talked about it. He's it's my niece listens. She's like, he's really aggressive, and I was like, yeah, it's whatever. But then there's another guy, Bobby Bones. He does like he's like on the country music stations. His is kind of like more like child friendly and stuff. But he's somebody who doesn't have your typical radio voice. He almost sounds like just like one of your friends, kind of like.
That's cool.
It's neat. It's like a totally different voice than everybody else has. So, yeah, that's yeah. So that's
all right.
That's our competitors.
So that's our intro.
That's our competitors out there that we're gonna take. We should start a radio war.
We really should, right?
Take on Bobby Bones.
And they'll be like, so I heard about this podcast. Yeah. What the heck's up with these
Bobby
people?
Bobby Bones, you asshole. Come on here and take us. So. So Megan, how was your week? How are things going?
My week has been really, really good. Thank you for asking. Of course, getting ready for the holiday weekend. It seems so selfish. Don't you ever sometimes feel like, obviously you and I don't have, and I'm air quoting even though people can't see, like normal jobs, quote.
Sure.
And still I get so excited for the weekend or for holiday weekends. And of course my boyfriend's like, you don't even go to an office. What would you care about? Every day's a Saturday.
I don't get excited for weekends.
Well, that means
because
everybody in town.
Well, the funny thing is like when I grew up, I remember in some during the summer vacation and summer breaks, when I love the weeks, like the weekdays, because it was like me and my two sisters, we'd hang out and just kind of have fun. My parents would work. And my dad used to leave, I hated these. He used to leave lists every single day of like, 5 or 6 things. Like, do the laundry, fold the socks. And by the way, we had like 3 or 4 bushels of socks and like 2 bushels had no matching one. It was terrible. But he used to leave like these lists and we had to like get them done before the end of the day. So he would either come home at lunch or he would, or he'd call and like, do you have your list done? And I was such a punk ass little kid back then too. And I was like, I got till 5 o'clock. I'll get it done by then. And he hated it. And so I literally would wait all day till about 4:30 and just get everything done. So when he came home, I'd be like, that's done. See? And he's like, well, why don't you just do it earlier? I was like, you just told me I had to get it done before the end of the day. Not
you should have been a lawyer.
But anyways, and I hated like the weekends because I was like, okay, now my parents are home and now we just have to like, play board games or do whatever. But during the week, it was just like me, my two sisters just running amok. We would where we lived, you could walk to like 7-Eleven, so we'd go walk to 7-Eleven and just and we could also walk to a video store because back then we didn't have like Netflix or anything, so we would walk to a video store. So actually, I'm not a big movie watcher, but I did watch a ton of movies, probably from the age of like 5th grade till like maybe like 10th grade and stuff.
That's funny. You walk to a 7-Eleven. When I was in middle school, my best friend and I, we used to walk to a Boston Market. and then to a Blockbuster next
Boston
door.
Market.
Well, you were going to a gas station.
It wasn't a gas station at the time. It was just a
convenience store?
corner store. A corner store. It was very American-like, walking to the corner store. But I would get like baseball cards and Slurpees and
I haven't had
beef jerky.
I love beef jerky. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I do. That's like my dirty little
beef
food
jerky.
secret.
Yes, beef jerky. And then my other thing and I never liked the sweet stuff. Was combos. You know combos?
Ugh.
There's like
the ones that like tasted like pizza or nacho cheese.
Yeah.
Oh my God! No wonder you were fat.
No, I was not fat back then. Those were the jump off, as the kids are saying. Those I love those combos. And then
combos on fleek.
Yeah,
that's what the kids are saying.
And then they also had like the fun dip too, where you lick that big old stick and put it in. Oh. I didn't like that, but I was into the Slurpees. And then Surge came out. You remember Surge?
Amazing you weren't a stoner going back to last week's podcast, because you certainly ate like one.
I did. But the funny thing is, and I grew up in that house pretty much my entire young childhood and young adult life. And like around like senior year of high school, as we're growing up, now I'm starting to go out, right? And I remember me and my friend Craig. I love Craig. And he would... we were on the football team. Craig was like one of these bigger kind of like lineman guys. I love Craig. And we would go out, and Craig would spend the night because we wouldn't want to drive home. So we'd go out, come home like at midnight or whatever, and like we'd come home, be all jazzed up, like, God, we're so hungry. Let's walk to 7-Eleven. So we'd like walk to 7-Eleven like at midnight, and we would go and get these big bowls of like nachos, like with cheese and chili and jalapenos, and literally like we wouldn't say an entire word back from the walk. It was probably like a 10-minute walk because we just
eat the whole thing,
and we didn't finish it there. We didn't finish it on the walk. We'd finish it in the room. And I remember my mom, she'd like my mom and my sister's like, your room smells so disgusting. Because you think like after all that beer that you're drinking, after all like the nachos, the gas is starting to and she was just, they would open the door like, oh my God, it smells so terrible in here. and the favorite line or the famed line was, it smells like a damn brewery in here. So that was my childhood.
So what's going on this weekend?
So this weekend, our good friend Dr. Josh and his family are coming down. I'll try and convince Dr. Josh to make a late night walk with me to 7-Eleven to get some nachos.
You're gonna have your work cut out for you between your ukulele and how amazing he is at playing the guitar, and his kids. No, he's like backup singers.
Yeah, he's like a full-on musician.
He's amazing,
and his daughters are unbelievable singers. And
it's really cool.
I just know a couple chords on the ukulele and pretend to go along. So
you know that your daughter is going to be making them sing the Frozen song over and over and over.
Oh
again.
My God, yeah, that's gonna happen. So Dr. Josh et al. Come in tomorrow. I got to pick them up at the airport. And we're going to hang out and just good old-fashioned Labor Day weekend,
It's so nice that we're so fortunate living somewhere like this where people do come for a vacation. And sometimes I forget that. Yeah. Like I just had a girlfriend that was in town this past weekend from New York. And it's so funny, because we get used to where we live. And obviously you and I, we appreciate both living in, such tropical places. But I forget sometimes, like I look at everything like just with my blinders on when I go through my day-to-day life. And so I had somebody in town and she was like, oh, it's so beautiful here. It's so this. Oh, I love your apartment. Oh, the view. Oh, let's go here. Let's walk here. And I'm just like pretending to be that tourist with her. And I'm like, wow. Like puffing my chest up. I'm like, yeah, it is great here.
It is so
Come
nice.
back anytime.
I mean, everybody else says that, we live where people vacation, but it's so nice. And
it is. Yeah.
Something that I've gotten away from doing, but I've started doing it even more now, was just taking walks on the beach. And so like I did that this morning when I dropped off Noah, just went to, and I actually was going to talk about this for a topic. I thought it'd be boring, but hey, here we are, right?
We're once again going off list.
Yeah, so
why do we even make the list?
It's so cool. One of my favorite bands, OAR, they have like a set list that they do before a show, and there's like 22 songs in there, and they end up like changing it up like into
That's cool.
It's really cool. So I kind of feel like them right
You're
now.
so like OAR. Let's get OAR on the show.
So this morning, I was so I like to go to I was going to the beach. I was like, let me gather my thoughts for the show and everything. Like it's a big time sold out show or something. And so I went to, and I was like, I really need to do my workout, in the morning. It's my 25-minute workout. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do my walk instead. Yeah. So I actually went for a walk, but it was an internal battle that I had was like, you get on such these regiments of like doing your workouts when I was like, it's still kind of healthy to go for a long walk on the beach and get my thoughts together. So I might do it this afternoon. I might not. I have a couple calls and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I think I'm the same way. You know, I always get stuck in like going to the gym. I feel like I have to be there, and that's my work.
2.5 hours.
Not always. I feel like, okay, I have to be there. I have to do this. I have to do this. But like the other day, Colin and I went on a bike ride, and we rode our bikes for like an hour and a half, an hour or so. And it was really nice. And like, you know, it's a great workout that way too. So like sometimes we get stuck in these ruts and we don't realize. Now, did you do that
instead of working out?
Yeah,
or you
did. Like I didn't work out during the morning. And so he came home from work, and obviously he sits at a desk all day. So he wanted to go do something, and we got some new bikes.
Oh,
so
you bought some new bikes?
We got some handed down to us. My dad and his wife bought new bikes, so they gave us their older
beach
bikes.
Cruisers, or
we got hybrid bikes. So they're a mix of a beach cruiser and a like a road bike.
Yeah.
So the tires are thinner, so they can be a road bike, but it has gears on it and stuff. It's cool.
Have you seen these? Have you seen that? They're not new, but the bikes with the big wheels on them.
Yeah,
now?
I see some people that ride those on the beach. They're good for like riding on sand.
Can people do that down there?
Mm-hmm.
See, like right up here. I guess maybe just at low tide.
You can ride on the beach. There's, I think, like in South Beach where I live, it's like up to 23rd Street. You know, the streets start at like 0 and go up number-wise, north to south, south to north. And so you can ride your bike on the boardwalk until like 23rd. But then, I mean,
boardwalk. See, that's crazy because we don't even have a boardwalk here. And
You
we're
don't?
literally like an hour and a half north of
That's
you.
so funny.
Yeah. Do you like the boardwalk life? Do you think it's cool? Or
I mean, I think it's pretty to ride around on and whatnot. But obviously those areas, you know, are so congested with tourists during certain times of year.
What is the, what's like the most non-congested time on the boardwalk?
Oh, my God. I mean, you'd have to go probably when it's still
Monday
dark
morning?
out. Yeah. Because, I mean, people come in South Beach, like where the boardwalk is, and it's Ocean Drive.
Yep.
And Ocean Drive is actually one of the most photographed and filmed streets in the world.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I know, right? Just down the street from me.
That's just right behind my house.
Let me just brush my shoulders off. Because there's so many people that come. You know, you figure people come to Miami Beach from all over the world. And, you know, we always think like, oh, it must just be like spring break crowd or whatnot. I mean, there are families that come from Europe and Asia and the Middle East to South Beach.
Yep.
And when you think of Miami Beach, people think, oh, Miami Vice, Ocean Drive, all of that. I mean, it sounds silly, but it's true. Yeah. And so that's like where everybody sort of congregates. So as far as like restaurants and things, you know, you would never eat over there. Yeah. But that's like every time we have visitors, that's like our back pocket. Like, oh, we'll take them on Ocean Drive.
Oh, will we see Gloria Stefan? Probably.
You might, yes.
Yeah.
That's where they have those giant cocktails, you know, that are like bright blue with like the Coronas that stick out of them.
Oh, my gosh. Have you ever ordered one of those?
Never.
No.
I wouldn't be able to walk home.
They're very touristy drinks. Oh, give me that drink with the Corona upside down.
I mean, can you imagine ordering something like that?
Megan, we forgot to tell everybody what we're giving away today. And
oh
while
my
you
gosh,
do that,
we always do
I have
this.
to go get a drink of water in my mouth. I just need some water right now.
All right.
You do the play-by-play.
That's fine. So we are actually going to be giving away some alternative daily hats. Now, we did this one time before, and the response was overwhelming. These hats are awesome. I personally have one. I had to really, really, really work my magic with Jake. I had to work my magic with Jake to get a second one to give to my boyfriend because he was so jealous when we all got them at the company retreat. So we are going to be giving out 50 hats. However, we're not going to tell you how you're going to win one until the middle of the show, where we will also announce the winner of the Yeti Hopper. And we have a little bit of a surprise there too. Because it's good. You're refreshed now.
Water, yeah. It's the Berkey water.
It's from the Berkey water filter.
I'm sorry. I hate to do that in the middle of this really popular show. But,
that's okay. You just left me hanging like that.
No, those hats are great. So we're giving them away. I mean, literally, we're going to tell you how to do it. It's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. I almost gave it away right there.
I know you did. So our first topic.
Yeah, go for it.
Something that you experienced or you dealt with yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, it's this week. So as we know that health is important to every living being on here, we have 2 wonderful dogs. We have Brody.
Combined weight of about 8 pounds.
Brody and Lucy. And Lucy is my active one. She is the Jack Russell Rat Terrier mix. Mm-hmm. Lucy is 10. She'll be 10 this year. And I think so. I think it's 10. But she still goes to the beach, catches frisbees. We've
posted photos of her on Alt Daily.
Has not slowed down. She swims, she surfs, she paddleboards with me. She is staring at us right now.
I know she's trying to get out.
She really wants to come out here. The problem is why we don't let her out is because she will, if she sees another dog or something, she will just bark and just chase. And so, of course, we need to be professional here.
Of course,
have dogs
we're all about professionalism.
So that's Lucy. Lucy is, if Lucy was a human being, she'd probably be,
running triathlons.
Kind of like the Michael Phelps, but minus the weed smoking and weirdness. She is completely fit.
That's what makes Michael Phelps even better. Can we just pause for a moment and say, after he became like the most decorated Olympian of all time, surpassing Bruce Jenner, He then gets caught smoking a bong. I mean, if there is
I don't think it's a big deal.
if there is a better advertisement for marijuana, it is that right there.
I don't think Lucy's ever smoked marijuana though, so she's clean. But Lucy got a clean bill of health, is perfect shape, awesome.
Good for her.
Now, little Miss Brody.
Oh, Brody's my favorite.
So Brody is a rat terrier. When we actually received Brody was like 2 pounds. Like literally, and like her head was bigger than everything else. She was just a little thing. And
how much is she now?
Brody's a rat terrier.
It's like 3 pounds?
This is the problem. So Brody is supposed to be 5 pounds. Brody weighs 7 pounds.
Oh no, that's like obese.
That's obese, and so she doesn't go for a walk. And believe me, I'm an active guy. I like to go to the beach and stuff like. She just won't do it. She digs her hands into the into the sidewalk. One of the very first times, like we tried to go for a walk, like her paws were bleeding because she was just trying to hold on. So Brody's more of like a house cat.
That's why she's my favorite.
But here's the cool
Brody.
thing is during the day, like she has about like 2 or 3 like sprints of about 30 seconds where she's like a dog. She wants to play and then she's done. But what she'll do is she'll scratch at the door probably around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she comes out here to the patio and then wants to go sit in the sun. She reminds me of my grandmother when she was still alive. My grandmother would like to go sit in the sun like at 3 o'clock for like an hour just to get some vitamin D, which is awesome. That's Brody. And so Brody wants to go out in the sun for like and she sits there just like a little old lady, just
with like her little glasses and a reflective shade.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so anyways, so Brody on the other hand weighs 7 pounds, and she's supposed to be 5. So we have to put Brody on a little bit of a diet.
Yeah.
They told us, they're definitely seeing some joint issues with her and everything. And Brody I think is 7 or 8. So we when you came over, Lucy was scratching at like the walls and stuff like that because now we have to keep their food separate. I'm definitely we have a really good food that we give to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have to ration out Brody's. Like Brody can only get like a third of a cup like in the morning and a third of a cup like at night and stuff like that. So I felt so bad kind of rationing it to her because usually we just keep food out and just whatever. But apparently like Lucy's fine. Like Lucy can either her metabolism is great or that she just doesn't eat a lot. Brody can just sit there and snack all day. So it's on us now. We actually have to fix it. So we have to put her on a little bit of a diet.
But you don't have to give her any special food or anything.
No.
Same food, just
same food,
less food.
Just less food. And we'll see. I just feel so bad.
I know.
Like literally put it down. She ate it and she got done. She looked up and I'm like,
well, that's it.
So they want to see her again, like in a couple weeks to see how it's
for
going.
A weigh-in.
Yeah. So just think like 2 pounds over.
That's a really big deal.
Yeah. So we and Lucy takes supplements. So I give Lucy eye supplements. She had some eye problems a couple of years ago.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah. And took her to the wonderful Dr. Carmen Kolitz. And the fixed her eyes. But Brody is kind of like she just eats all day, I guess. But it's not a lot. Like I mean, she really doesn't snack all day. But
what's so funny is if you guys were to see a photo of Brody, I'm going to post a photo of Brody on the Alternative Daily Instagram account. She is so tiny. It's almost ridiculous to imagine that she would have a weight problem because she's so small.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel so bad because she's so sweet and everything, but now I got to ration her food, and so I'll keep an eye on it. But so that's we need to keep our pets healthy. We can't obviously let them go let them go out terribly. But you have to do anything because you have like 30 cats.
I have 2 cats. I have a 5-year-old cat. Her name is Miss Kitty, and she's fine. I mean, she eats.
Her name is Miss Kitty.
Her name is Miss Kitty. Miss Kitty Harris. She's great. She eats a lot, but I mean, she's got a great little personality. She's so cute. And then I have a cat named Midnight who I have had since I was in the 5th grade.
Oh my God. How old's Midnight?
So Midnight just turned 18 years old. I'm
man.
back in. Don't say it like that. He's looking in his eyes like, oh man, your cat's going to die.
I didn't say that.
No. So she's obviously
in good health.
She's in very good health given her age. It's not easy having a senior pet because especially with cats, they start to go a little bit crazy. She's sort of got what you can consider like kitty Alzheimer's. Like she gets a little bit confused every now and then, and we know that she's completely lost her hearing, but she can see.
When she start barking, pretend she's
she just does this yowling thing. She does this like meow. I don't want to do that into the microphone. It's really bad. But she does do this crazy yowling thing. But it's okay. I mean, like we take her to the vet. You know, she has to get more fluids now. Obviously, a big thing with cats is their kidneys.
Sure.
A lot of cats, you know, will end up passing away from like kidney disease or kidney failure, which is obviously like the worst part of it. So, you know, for her age and everything, I mean, she's great. But it can be trying at times to have an animal that is really old, and in the middle of the night she gets confused, so she'll start like howling. And my boyfriend and I were joking that it's like preparing us for one day when like we have a baby in the middle of the night. And so far so good. I know. Well, so far so good. I sleep through it. So I told Colin we're gonna have to get him one of those fake boobs one day. So in the middle of the night he'll just breastfeed.
I've had a ton of friends say that, you know, we're not gonna have kids. You know, we have dogs.
We have dogs.
So it's the same thing. It is not the damn same thing. It is not the damn same thing. So that's kind of my update on Brody and Lucy and pet health. And we have a really good like I said, you know, we feed them really well. They eat it's called Origin, which is a really good pet food, and it consists of mainly things that they would eat in the wild, as opposed to, because if you look at a lot of your
there's a lot of filler.
There's a lot of like grain. Like if you look at grain and corn is like the first ingredients, and that's not what these dogs were meant to eat. So.
I was talking to Susan one time. You know, Susan from the Alternative Daily. You might know Susan.
I know of her.
She gives her dogs and cats coconut oil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. I mean, she puts it. You can put it on like dog's skin, you know, and they can also take it just like humans can.
Yep.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. It helps with
everything.
Everything.
If you're at a loss for what to do with yourself and you want to start one healthy thing, just start using coconut oil.
That's right. That's
probably like the easiest thing to do.
Put Windex on it too.
Yeah, put some Windex on it. You'll be fine.
So that's our update on those, but on those little guys. But getting into the with the contest human health, but with the contest winners, we asked everybody what supplements that they take, and surprisingly, like the top three, I think I can say this. It's not naming any names here. Was vitamin D3, magnesium, and
CoQ10.
CoQ10, yeah, those were the top three ones that everybody's taken. And it's kind of cool. It's like that everybody knows about D3, which is awesome, because you definitely
I take D3, yeah.
Because you put sunscreen on and you don't go out into the sun and get a tan. You wouldn't have to pay for it if you just went outside. So, and actually, there's quite a few people that even said, you know, we learned a lot about that between the, you know, if you're going to wear sunscreen, you know, at least get 20 to 30 minutes, you know, right in the sun. So, thank you all for all of your submissions, and we'll get into the winner in here in a second. But the one thing that it's actually a new supplement that I've actually been trying. They're called digestive enzymes.
Now, is this different than a probiotic?
Yes. So, very good question,
Megan.
Well,
thank you.
Asked that. So, probiotics are extremely important, right? If you don't know what probiotics are, it's putting the good belly bacteria back into your gut, because you lose some every day, and you need to have a healthy balance between good and bad. There's bad bacteria and there's good bacteria. Probiotics add good bacteria to it. However, you need to have, as I've been learning and been told, you need to have a properly fertilized garden before you start trying to
plant
seeds. There you go. And to properly fertilize that garden, you need to have a good base of digestive enzymes. Now, your pancreas creates these naturally, but given the fact in our daily lives, between stress, between environmental pollutants, and between some foods that we eat, you know, let's be honest here. You know, 7 days a week, 3 meals a day. Do you eat perfectly every single meal, Megan?
No, not at all.
You don't. I don't either, right? And so you do end up putting some stuff in your stomach that, you know, kind of inhibit your natural enzymes. And I just learned about these things. These are kind of crazy. And I actually started taking them. And so what they do is they actually, if you don't know what digestive enzymes are, and I'm just, learning about these and becoming more aware of them, is that they actually provide enzymes in your stomach, additional enzymes to help your body naturally break down food, you know, protein, carbs, fats, etc. And so it helps for people who feel bloated, who feel gassy after meals, if you just kind of feel uncomfortable after meals. And even me, like even after eggs and stuff, like if I just eat eggs, I feel like really bloated after that.
Some people feel this after dairy too.
After dairy, you know, and it's just kind of like I just feel a little bit bloated after that. So you need to properly fertilize your garden before you enter the probiotics.
You sent me a great article about this, and one of the ways that they describe it is they said giving your body digestive enzymes to help aid in digestion is like hiring more workers for an extremely large task.
Yes. So
the more workers you have, the better executed the task will be.
So I actually put these things to the test.
Yeah, you told me you
I
did this.
So here's what I did. So I got a good bottle of them in, and I said, let me know. There's supplements out there that sometimes if you take a D3, you don't necessarily know if you feel better or worse. Right?
No, I don't feel anything.
So I was like, okay, everybody I've talked to has said, you definitely feel it. And I was like, let me at least try this. So I got them in on a Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday, I said, Gina, what are we doing for lunch? And she said, I don't know what's around. I was like, let's go get Mexican.
Oh, boy.
I was like, I'm going to put these things to the test.
After like the first time you took one, and it just took in a pill form?
Yeah, so it's plant-based digestive enzymes. And so what you do is you take them with the first bite of your meal. So I'm just, you're drinking your waters or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take it with your first bite. So we got chips and salsa. And so
perfect.
Add a little hot sauce to that. So I take my digestive enzymes.
I love that this is all in the name of research.
All in the
Mexican
name of research.
at like 11:30 a.m.
So good. Actually, this Mexican restaurant was not that good. It's a new one that opened up, and we'll probably never go back. But
we digress.
But I digress. So I take the 2 supplements with my first bite.
Just chase it down with some chips and salsa.
Chase it down with some chips and salsa. And I ordered 3 fish tacos. And then Gina also got some of that queso dip.
Oh, that sounds good.
We decided
Gina's a lot of fun. She might not like coconut oil, but she's a lot of fun.
We decided to go head first into this Mexican wall. And so I take the supplements and I'm waiting. So we're eating and I just keep eating. And the one problem like I've always had, which is like not knowing when to stop, because I usually, back in my fat days, I ate till completion. So I was like, let's just go for it, right? And so I did. And, we get to check. I'm done. Kind of waiting for something. Nothing. We get home. Nothing. Noah goes down for a nap. Nothing. And here I am, like, an hour, 2 hours later, not bloated at all. I felt full. And it was here. Like, there's a difference between having, like, the bloated full feeling.
Where you feel sick.
And then just feeling, like, full. Like, oh, I don't have to eat. And I felt like, oh, I don't have to eat. And that was it, which is crazy because I do like Mexican food.
I know you do.
And so I usually get that, that bloated feeling after. I didn't get it.
That's amazing.
It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. So I took it to even further depths and decided to test it.
Can you invite me when you start doing research like this?
And I wanted to test it on my, so I love Mexican food, but there's one thing that's my ultimate vice: pizza. It's like, let me try it with the pizza.
And not gluten-free.
No, it was gluten-free. What
are you talking crazy?
So me and a friend who I haven't had dinner with in a while, we went out. There's a new gluten-free restaurant that they have craft beer too.
Cool.
So he's actually lost 35, 40 pounds.
Wow.
And all he's done is he stopped eating bread. Stopped eating, all that starchy carbs. So so I pull it, and he was like, what the hell is that? And Pete's like this kind of like, fishing guy, captain guy. And he was like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, well, these are my supplements that I take, before I eat, because it makes my belly feel better. And he was like, give me some of them. Let me try them before we eat the pizza. So we both took them. So I had the gluten-free pizza and didn't feel bloated at all.
That's great.
At all. So these digestive enzymes work. So it's something that I've been trying, and and I guess what it really happens is that the it enhances and it adds enzymes in there to help break the food down inside your belly. Now, and granted, like we were joking here between Mexican and pizza and stuff like that, but I didn't try it on fried foods. Like if you're gonna eat really, 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 really shitty foods, you're really not giving yourself a chance. So I kind of ate like if people go out to a restaurant and eat and stuff like that, it helped. And so it's not like it's not like it's a Beano or something like that where it just masks symptoms. It actually breaks it down, which is better. So it actually makes your digestive system more optimal to break them down.
But what's interesting is you don't just have to eat like burritos and pizza.
What? That's all I want to eat. Yeah.
Because what's interesting is that there's a lot of foods that contain enzyme inhibitors that we think are healthy, that are healthy. And some examples of those are raw peanuts, egg whites, nuts, seeds, beans, potatoes, peas, lentils. Those are all examples of healthy raw foods that contain enzyme inhibitors. So actually what that means is they neutralize some of the enzymes in your body. So when you want to take extra digestive enzymes, that sort of helps that. And then here's something I found really interesting about the article that you sent me. there are some foods that are high in enzymes that would be a good idea to take.
Right.
Papayas, mangoes, avocado, which I eat every single day.
Oh, wait. So I'm sorry. So back it up. The food you said before were things that actually
inhibit it.
So
you would
food.
want, exactly. You would want to take it. So it's not like
cool.
it's not like, that's why you said sometimes when you eat eggs, you feel that way.
Yeah.
It's eggs and lentils.
Look at you.
Yeah. I told you I read the article.
Wow.
So it's not just about eating, like a burrito. There are certain things that you might feel this way after eating like lentil. Like I've felt, bloated before after eating like a chili or lentils and stuff.
Chili, yes.
Well, yes, of course. But what's interesting is you think, okay, so what if I just eat foods that are higher in enzymes? And again, papayas, mangoes, avocados, sprouts, and bananas are all enzyme-rich foods. But there's a catch-22.
Uh-oh.
Once the fruit or vegetable is ripe, it loses that concentration of enzymes.
So you got to eat them before it's ripe?
Exactly. Once the produce ripens, the enzymes go back into the stem and the seeds so that it can reproduce.
So you got to eat the avocado when it's like still green and hard.
Yeah, when like you're not going to eat it.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things.
That's why these digestive enzyme supplements
you have to take
are
them.
really, really good. Cool. Yeah. So that was my guinea pig for the weekend.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So I actually was not bloated at all. So
you look very, very svelte today. I
Thank
meant to
you.
tell you.
Thank you. So that wraps it up. Have you ever heard of digestive enzymes before this?
No, I hadn't.
Awesome. So this goes into the next segment that we want to talk about here. And it's kind of it's going to make it hard right here, but it also has to do with kind of the whole aura of everything, the whole philosophy of everything. And it's the whole philosophy around the alternative daily. So we're just talking about digestive enzymes.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing about the alternative daily is kind of, living an alternative health lifestyle, living kind of an alternative lifestyle. And I'm not talking about swinging. I'm talking about just kind of, you don't have to do what people are force feeding you. So for you, the perfect example of this is the food pyramid, right?
Right.
Everything that we were taught when we were in high school, brought down from the good old FDA and everything, all doctors saying, at the top is, I don't even remember what it said, but the big portion was what? Breads, pastas,
whole
grains, and all these different things, and couldn't be, any more wrong, right? And so that's something that we were just always shoved down our throats of just like, eat more pasta, eat more this, eat more that, it's healthy for you.
The base of the pyramid.
And as we're discovering more, it's wrong. And so, but that's what happens is when you don't have a lot of information being spread to you, which is kind of given through one specific channel, you kind of just ending up believing it. And so this next segment that I kind of want to talk about, so this is a perfect segue, is media. Same thing when it goes to just the news that's being fed to us. And so if you look here in the United States, we have kind of like the few big players, right? You have your CNN, you have your Fox News, you have your MSNBC, and then you have... What other ones are there?
I mean, there's ABC, there's NBC.
Yeah, then you have all that. Yeah. And so there's definitely been in the past 5 years a bigger bloom of alternative media outlets. And by alternative, I'm not even saying it has to be like alternative health or against the grain. It's just a different thought process, different mind process. And I'm not necessarily lumping in the conspiracy theory outlets and conspiracies out there, although they're.
But I think that's stereotypically associated with alternative news.
Yes,
most people assume that.
Yeah.
Like we're talking. I have a family member. I was joking with you earlier that she watches only one news channel, and everything that she sees on that.
Which one is that?
Fox News.
Does she?
And everything she sees on that channel, that's her news. That's what she believes. And that's fine. That's her prerogative. But if I were to talk to her about alternative news, she would assume I'm talking about, aliens and this. And you know what I mean? Like when I explained to her about this, when I first started working here, almost 2 years ago or so, she thought like this was a website that would tell you like, if you have cancer, eat kale. And I'm like, it's not necessarily like that.
Right, sure. The and that's what a lot of people, they're just
we think alternative and we think it's got to be something negative.
Yeah, but it's not. It's just like a different mindset. And even with the conspiracy stuff, like I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. Even with the tragedy that happened last week, I saw like literally like 30 minutes after it happened, like people were like, "Did that really happen? Oh, this is just like from the gun control lobby and stuff like that." And at first, I'm just like really turned off. I'm like, "That's so terrible." But then I'm thinking, well, I'm not giving it any merit because I do believe it was tragedy. I believe it happened. But But it started making me think, you know what, how much information do we just gobble up that is not necessarily true, right? And how many stories and how many news stories have, you know, when news reporters had to come back and say, I'm sorry, we made a mistake on that, because you're taking it, you know, for truth right there. And so that's why I think, like, in the past 5 years, and again, I want to say that I'm not on board with the conspiracy for everything that happened in Virginia. I'm just saying the thought process, you know, from the conspiracy side is just saying we don't believe anything that any of the news channels tell us, which, I mean, I think there's some merit to that, because I do think there's some conspiracies, but something like that seems just too far-fetched for me. But I'm open. I'm open to all ideas.
You know, it's interesting. I took, I went to school for communications and broadcast journalism and whatnot. And one of my favorite classes that I took when I was at Florida State and in the College of Communications was a class, and I think the exact title was like the political economy of media. And it was basically a class. It was so interesting. I really, really, really was so surprised by how much I loved this class. And it talked a lot about this, and also about the fact that, you know, there's so many things that we don't realize, like certain news organizations that are maybe owned under the umbrella of certain companies or products or car companies or all these things.
Yeah.
And, you know, like there was a great example, and we don't see this as much anymore, but it's still prevalent. For example, a journalist might go out and do a story about, I'm just making this up, but this was an example that we were taught about, like a certain car company, right? That maybe all of the airbags are faulty. So they want to report on this story about how don't buy this car, or, you know, cars between the years of 2012 to 14, airbags are dangerous. But then what happens is that company might be owned under the same umbrella as, say, that car company.
Yep.
So then it's up to the news outlet to decide, okay, do we lose advertising or get in trouble, or do we publish something? And it was like this very interesting, because as a journalist, you always have to be so aware of that, because they say, and I have worked for publications and different channels and stuff, and as much as you want to say, oh, there's a separation, you know, technically they're not even in the same room and stuff. I have worked at companies before where if we wanted to do a story on something and maybe it didn't shed light in such a positive way about something, but we were afraid that we were going to maybe lose that advertising or piss somebody off. You don't really do it, or it gets very, you know, hairy there. And of course that's illegal. You can't do that. But it happens so much. So it's kind of interesting to think, like, what we see out there that's actually getting passed versus what are all the things that we don't know about.
I think there was actually something that happened over at BuzzFeed where, I don't know if it was Coca-Cola or something, they did a piece like on, you know, soda being bad. And it might not be Coca-Cola, it might be something, but they did something on something being bad. And it was one of their sponsors, and they came back and they deleted the story and everything like that. And that's a big deal, right?
Of course.
And I mean, it's just, and you kind of go back into the health of it. You know, literally, like, the healthiest thing you can do is just, like, stop drinking soda, right? It's the easiest healthy thing. But none of them, like, when they talk about, like, the health segments, never talk about that, right? It's because why? Because Coca-Cola has a lot of money and they're buying a lot of media. And once they start, you know, trashing them, it's, you know, it's not good. And so that's why it's important to, and I'm not even saying that, like, there's specific alternative outlets out there that are 100% down the line, right? You just need to, I don't want to say pick and choose, but, you know, for example, and I'm not saying do what I do, but here's, like, for example, so, like, if something happens, let me look at, like, the major, like, sometimes I don't even look at the major players, but if I look at a CNN, or, you know what, I'll say, all right, what does Fox News say, right? And then what does somebody like The Blaze say? And then what does somebody like MSNBC? Okay, so I'm getting all of it from everywhere, and then let me go to the other different sites or blogs that I go to. And that's why I also kind of just like the blogging aspect of it for the for news reporting. Like, there's a lot of just, you know, from a news perspective, there's a lot of blogs that are coming out.
And I think they're better in some ways because they don't have to be so censored.
They don't have to be so censored. And blogs, in theory, compared to these bigger companies, don't make tons of money. They make money, but don't make tons of money, so they're not held down by the Coca-Colas of the world and stuff like that. So, and that's why I think, especially in this age, it's good to get a lot of information from a lot of different places to form your own opinion. Especially as we're talking about, like, the presidential election. Oh, yeah. I think that, in my opinion, that's, like, the biggest way to remain informed and to really learn is, you know, going back to my family member, if you're watching only one news outlet and you know who they support versus, and I'm not trashing one news outlet over the next, but it's like, I think that you need to sort of watch different
news
you
channels.
You can trash them. I'm fine with that. I'll
no,
take
but
the
I
heat.
mean, but it's just funny because, I mean, obviously everybody jokes about like a Fox News being so ridiculous or so crazy, but I mean, there are crazy people on MSNBC and CNN and you can see what their agendas are.
Yeah,
so sometimes it's interesting to see how much they promote a certain person.
Right.
But like if you're trying to make an informed decision, you should be looking at all of them.
Yeah, and the problem, like if you look at Fox News, it's obviously more of a conservative bent, right? And if that's kind of your typical values, that's fine. But it also helps to be informed from the other side.
Absolutely.
Now what these companies do, like a Fox News or even MSNBC, they'll employ a few. Like Fox News will employ a few liberals, and then MSNBC will employ a few. You have Morning Joe Scarborough, who's a conservative, and so that kind of gives them a little like skin in the game, right? But that doesn't. I mean, it's all coming from the top down. So I think it's always important to you don't even have to look at like the big heavy hitters. It's just. Get your news from. I like these alternative sites like ours, the alternativedaily.com. It's not terrible, but then there's other blogs out there that you can get some really good information from to really check out what is kind of dig through all the kind of like the corporate garbage, and so and that's just and it's just kind of also how I've always lived my life. Anybody who's told me something, I've always doubted it or waited to the last second to do it, like chores, waiting till 4:30 to do them. But it's important to get your news from everywhere, and like you said, especially during this presidential election, because each network has a specific favorite,
of
right?
course.
And so it's I just want to see them all slug it out.
And BuzzFeed's is Donald Trump.
I mean, because they're just trying to get clicks, and they're just trying.
It's hilarious.
It's so crazy. But especially as we're going into the next year, it'll be interesting to see what sites kind of evolve as kind of being like the down the right. And as somebody, another one I'll throw in there too is Huffington Post. I actually do.
I like Huffington Post,
but I can't stand it anymore because here's why. You see, like they definitely have a very liberal bent.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. If Obama breaks wind, they praise it, saying it's the best smelling thing ever, right? And I am, I am liberal, but I don't anything he does. I still look at it from just kind of curious eyes, saying, is this good? Is this bad? And is there some bad things he's done, right? And so, but they just like a site like Huffington Post does not. It's just like okay, and Fox News does it too. Like if somebody like when George W. Bush, there's very little criticism of him. Same thing at Huffington Post, very little criticism from him. If he breaks wind, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. But that's not necessarily true. But here's the other reason why I can't stand Huffington Post, and probably why a lot of people hate liberal politics, is because after you have Obama breaks wind, right below that, it's Kim Kardashian did this, and this other Hollywood person is doing this, and this actor is doing that. And so when they do see that Hollywood has a liberal bias, or that Hollywood has a liberal bias or whatever, I mean, it's definitely true, because if you look at Huffington Post, like I really don't care what the actress from Les Miserables is saying about coffee in another country. Like I don't want to hear from her, right? And so that's what really bothers me, is like the whole kind of like the celebrity. That's just people.
It's such a big part of our culture now, and it's so crazy.
I get it. Go to TMZ. They do it, right? Yeah. They do it well. They're very good at what they do.
But that's how Huffington Post is trying to get those clicks. They want to draw in those younger people by posting if you look at their Facebook.
That's not news.
Yeah, but they're trying to expand to a larger audience now.
I mean, we're trying to expand to a larger audience, but I refuse, other than when you want to bring them up on a podcast, I refuse to
We haven't talked about them in a long time.
Really get into that. But that's just the one thing I can't stand, right? Is at least be fair. And you know what? I've done my fair share of bashing Fox News, and I've done my fair share of bashing Huffington Post. Like I just don't want to. I don't care what the Avengers cast is saying at a junket in Colorado right now that has to do with climate change policy. They're goddamn actors. They're just fake being people. So I'm sorry. I also have a little bit of issues with actors too, but I'm very cynical.
This is like a rant podcast.
That's a rant podcast. Actors literally they're just being paid millions of dollars just to pretend to be somebody.
I know. How do I get a job like that?
So that's and that's my take. So there's definitely a lot of good blogs out there. I mean, we could name some. You have your Natural News, which is out there. You have your Natural Society, which is out there. You have the Alternative Daily, which is out there. And even some of the and then from the other side of things, you have Gawker. It's an extremely liberal site. Yep. There's no doubt about that. But they do dig a bunch and just trying to get to the to some of the truths, but it does have absolutely a liberal bent. But then another one is like The Blaze. I know it's Glenn Beck. I know a lot of people think he's crazy and stuff like that, but there is some good stuff that comes out of there. And so if you can kind of just get your information from a lot of different places rather than just one, I think that you can learn a lot.
I like Vice a lot too.
Vice is good. It's more for the millennials.
Yeah. All right. Well, then it's working.
And then you have there's some that I actually don't want to name, but BuzzFeed is
really trying to position themselves to be a serious news outlet. I mean, in addition to all the posts about like making, pizza rolls using crescent rolls and then, what the Kardashians are wearing, then they do try to report on things. I mean, as we saw last week.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that they are trying to become that one-stop shop for news.
Sure.
Because if you look at BuzzFeed from a year ago even, they post memes and they post funny articles and quizzes and stuff like that. And now, I mean, last week, when those two journalists were brutally murdered, they were posting, because I follow them on Facebook, because I like to see some of these funny articles that they post. Yeah. They were posting like up to the minute, just as I follow the Associated Press on Twitter, and they'll post up to the minute information. And it was so interesting to think that like the place that I would go to watch like, what stoner character are you from Dazed and Confused? Take this quiz. Or which Disney princess are you? They have those stupid quizzes. They're also like up to the minute posting about this news thing.
Yeah. No, and it's I can see, but it's at least better than going and getting it from. And I'm not dogging on like the Huffington. Well, I am dogging on the Huffington Post, but
yeah, you are.
But it's at least getting you out of watching CNN and getting you out of watching Fox News and kind of like digging a little more on your own. And there's definitely just some really good other blogs out there to check out.
That would be a great thing to have people do to enter our giveaway. Tell us what sort of alternative news channels or blogs that they look at.
No,
we
already have what we're gonna do. You can't change up the script. We never change that up. This is a perfect segue now into
perfect. What we're not gonna do.
So we have our winners from last week, and here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, winners. You know what?
We had some incredible
people
emails.
love Yeti coolers.
People love the Yeti coolers.
They love Yeti coolers.
But you know what's so exciting is I'm so appreciative to everybody out there who is finally emailing in and saying hi to Jake and I and saying please
this is probably
and thank you.
The nicest, biggest crowd.
This was amazing. Yeah. I mean, more than any other giveaway. Not only have you guys written in so many people, but it was so amazing how many of you guys.
I really want to give one to everybody.
I know. I wish we could because you guys wrote some really great emails. I mean, Jake decided, I picked one winner just at random, and that's what we do is we do pick one person at random. But then Jake actually had picked 3 additional people. So we're going to give away 4 Yeti hoppers.
They're really cool. I love these bags.
I actually like this a lot more even than the other.
No, but you like the hat better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for the hat. So we're going to actually announce our 4 winners.
All right, so you go one, I'll go one, you go one, I'll go one.
So the first winner is Susan Doby.
Susan Doby.
Are you going to play something? Congratulations, Susan Doby. I just want to read the first part of her email because it's so funny. She wrote, "Hi, guys. I love your podcast. Feels like I'm listening to a younger version of myself living in the future.
Yeah.
I liked when you were talking about the Facebook starting when you were a freshman in college. I talk about what it was like to be 20 years old and when AOL became available for the masses and what it was like to get that you've got mail announcement."
That's very good.
That was good, right?
Yeah.
After spending 30 minutes logging onto the internet. And you know what's so funny about that, Susan, and everybody else out there that I'm sure that can relate is, have you ever thought about when your phone right now, like if you're on your iPhone or your tablet or something, and like the internet is running slow and you're like, oh God, this page won't load. Oh, my internet must be screwed up. I mean, do you not remember like sitting in front of a computer listening to what sounded like that fax line?
I think it was Louis C.K. He's a famous comedian who said something like, "It's beaming from the sky. Give it some time." But it's so true. It's so true. You're like,
we're so impatient now.
Oh, okay, stop and just look outside for a second.
I mean, like when we were I remember like when our family got one computer and we had it in my parents' room so my sister and I wouldn't kill each other over it. Yeah, it was huge. And we'd be like, "Mom, nobody answer the phone." Because you remember you had to like connect the house phone or you get like a second line for internet.
Yeah, that was always cool. Like, oh my God, I got my own phone line and I'm going to hook up my internet up to it.
So congratulations, Susan Doby. We will be emailing you.
Did you ever play computer games when you were little?
I played Oregon Trail.
I mean, everybody
and Carmen
did.
Sandiego.
Carmen Sandiego. There was one that I actually played. Paperboy was a big one.
I didn't play that.
It was like on like Nintendo and stuff like that, but it brought it to the computer. The very first one I ever played, which it's kind of morbid, but it was like really cool because you never seen anything like it, was Wolfenstein.
I didn't even hear
It
of
was
that
like one
one.
of those like first person shooters where you like walk around and you had to like go like into, you had to, it was, I don't even want to get into it. It was crazy. Yeah. And then the other one, like when I finally got a computer in my room, I played a game called Myst.
Ooh.
It was kind of like you were like on an island, but you had to like, it was like puzzles to get out, but like true puzzles of like, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I keep saying I don't
Susan is the first winner.
Susan.
The second winner is...
Second winner is Wendy Harrison.
Congratulations.
Wendy. All right. So you're going to get a Yeti hopper. And here is what she said. It was... I subscribed to your email list. By the way, we have 1.5 million people subscribed to our list. But today was the first time I listened to the podcast. It was very interesting.
So she's not reading the emails.
She's not reading them. And I love the way you two just talk and act natural. Nobody likes to just listen to somebody talk about healthy stuff.
We picked you because you're honest.
That's right. Much better with the banter. And I do want to add this. I also like the few chords of a song that Jake plays at the beginning of the podcast. I agree that nobody likes to listen to a full 4 minutes. Laugh out loud. Well, you haven't heard me play for 4 minutes, Wendy. So Wendy, you win a Yeti hopper. All right, Megan.
The next winner is Timothy Havel II.
I think he's the third.
Oh, there's only
There's only
Roman
two?
numerals here.
Oh, maybe he's the second.
Hi, Megan and Jake, but mostly Megan. The show is great.
Looks like I think you might have a secret admirer.
Thank you, Timothy. The show is great. I think I've listened to 5 episodes now. I actually enjoy the uke, but I was going to challenge Jake to playing an entire song before he admitted to only learning the first 30 seconds. Conversation is very genuine with you two. It's kind of endearing that you seem to forget to go to your scripted topics.
Yeah.
All right.
Just throw it out the window.
Congratulations, Timothy.
Timothy, you're going to get one.
You always win if you try and
That's
suck
right.
up to me.
And then lastly, I got to make sure that I get this right. This is from Kendra Kent. And she says, my name is Kendra Kent. And she did say, good morning, Megan and Jake. And she takes a multivitamin every single day along with the vitamin C. Good stuff. She said that she would like to win this Yeti to give to my mother, Relena. Her 50th birthday is coming up. So happy birthday, Relena. She has been wanting this kind of Yeti, and I think she deserves it. She listens to your guys' podcast every podcast every work morning. Okay, well, we may need to do a daily one then. And she works from home, and I can hear it in her office. Anyways, thank you guys, and have a great day. Always, Kendra Lynn Kent.
What a nice daughter.
Yeah.
That's a really great daughter.
And I hope you're not lying. I hope that's a true story because
You're getting one.
You're
You pulled our
getting one.
heartstrings.
And you got to live with that if you're not. So
I will be emailing all 4 of you, Wendy, Kendra, Timothy, and Susan. And thank you again for everybody that did write into that. So you might not have been one of the 4 winners, but Jake and I are going to do something really exciting. We are going to be giving out alternative daily hats. This was probably our biggest.
This is the biggest one. This is the most response we ever got. At second was the Yeti Cooler. But we did this at the beginning of the summer.
This was the first
so now
one we
this
ever
is,
did.
this is the end of the summer. Well, I like to live life on an endless summer.
We
so
know
I hate
that.
saying this. But the end, I guess you could say, of the calendar summer with
Yes.
Labor Day coming up and everything. Let's end it off with a bang. And we want to, end it how we brought it in with free hats.
Bring it all full
so
circle.
we got 50.
50 hats. 50 people are going to win hats.
50 winners, and we are not going to read all of your name. Maybe we'll scroll through it real quick. I don't know. Probably not. But
we'll pick some of our favorite emails to read.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
You at least got to catch our eye. 50 free hats. And if you want something said on air, say it. We'll do birthday requests. We just did one.
Yeah, we'll do whatever you guys want.
So 50 free hats to the first 50 people. And what do they have to do, Megan?
You have to email us at podcast@thealternativedaily.com. That is podcast@thealternativedaily.com. Subject line, hat.
All right, there you go.
It's easy enough. And in the email, what do you want them to do? Because you didn't want them to go with my idea. You have to say hello.
Yeah,
you have to say
hello.
please and thank you.
And then you just suggest keep the topics coming. We'll make it
we
easy
do
for you.
love. Yeah, we do love to hear what topics you guys want us to talk about as we're planning the shows. And I personally would like to know what sort of alternative news sites you guys go to.
Oh man,
that's just me personally.
And the answer is
but
the
that's
Alternative
not,
Daily.
Yeah, that's how you'll win.
Yeah, send us your topics and.
So one last time, podcast@thealternativedaily.com. Subject line hat, and in the email, let us know I just forgot it.
Topic.
Oh my God.
Topic.
This coffee's got like my brain all over the place.
It's good coffee. Yeah. That's
All
how
right,
we're
so that's it. So we will pick 50, or really the first 50 people, because there might be more than that, will win these alternative daily hats. And they really, truly are awesome. I mean, it's honestly, my boyfriend told me it's the first hat I've ever looked good in. I don't really have a face for hats, but this one I look damn good.
Maybe it's because you were always wearing one of those big derby hats.
Yeah, that's right.
I can take that off. Or do you wear a fedora?
No, my God, no.
Well, you're down in South Beach, so
I should be wearing my fedora.
Fedoras and aviators, and just bikinis, and that's how you guys all walk around down there.
Yeah, Jake's like, oh, you don't go to work in a bathing suit? I'm like, no, just to job interviews, just to casting.
All right, so do you want to do? We might only have time for one more topic.
Okay, then I want to do the.
Do you want to do lonely billionaire, or do you want to do psychics?
I want to do lonely billionaire. Okay. You want to do psychics?
Let's ask the crowd.
Billionaire. Okay, so here's a great article.
Go for it.
Okay, so a man named Marcus Persson. Now, people might not know who Marcus Persson is, but you might have heard of the game that he invented or created called Minecraft. Now, almost a year ago, Microsoft actually purchased Minecraft from this guy for $2.5 billion. So they took Minecraft. And I mean, most people that are gamers are familiar with Minecraft. And Marcus himself, he actually did not.
Did you know about it before this?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And Minecraft, for everybody, I don't get it, but it's like pixelated, meaning it's not.
It's like supposed to look like an old school video game.
Yeah, and so like I actually saw somebody like for Halloween like walking around. I was like, what is that pixelated person doing? And I come to find out later it's from a game.
It's from Minecraft. So Marcus Persson actually created Minecraft and he sold it to Microsoft for $2.5 billion, less than a year ago. And he actually decided not to join Microsoft when he did that. Now, he's relatively young. He's like in his 30s. He makes $2.5 billion. So what does he start doing? Well, he buys a $70 million mansion.
Yeah.
He starts hosting wild and crazy parties.
Who wouldn't?
Inside his mansion, I want you to see a photo of this. He had built a massive wall made entirely of candy.
You just eat the candy like off the wall?
Like, you know when you go to those candy stores and like you put your bag underneath and you pull the things?
Oh my God. How old is this guy?
He's young.
What?
Do you see that photo?
Oh my God.
So he has this $70 million house like in Beverly Hills. He has this candy wall, like a 16-car garage. Just absolutely insane.
And just his feet. Just like it's just kind of like there's nobody else
You
there.
can look this up. Yeah. And so he actually, it's really kind of sad. He's very busy on Twitter. He's always tweeting and whatnot. And he's been tweeting lately that he's really, really bored and he's deeply lonely. And he tweeted.
Is he trolling everybody, do you think?
I think that he might have been, not such a social person.
Sure.
And then, he's got this money. He starts having all these people around, but, it doesn't you can only buy so many friends. And he started tweeting, and this is a quote, "The problem with getting everything is you run out of reasons to keep trying, and human interaction becomes impossible due to imbalance. Hanging out in Ibiza with a bunch of friends and partying with famous people, I'm able to do whatever I want, and I've never felt more isolated."
Wow.
It's really sad. I mean, you think like,
now,
my God.
Now you got this from Business Insider, which again is a pretty cool place to get some information. Did they interview him, or are they just getting like his?
They pulled a whole list of his tweets.
Okay.
So he's talking about, in Sweden, I will sit around and wait for my friends with jobs and families to have time to do stuff. I watch my reflection in the mirror. I found a great girl, but she's afraid of me and my lifestyle and wants to date a normal person instead. People who make sudden success are telling me that this is normal and it will pass. That's good to know. I guess I'll take a shower then. So it's just, it's kind of interesting because,
tough
how many people have said, oh man, I wish if I was a billionaire,
sure,
he
didn't ask for, loneliness and stuff like that. So again, when you get that amount of money, $70 million house is really not that big of a deal.
No, $2.5 billion.
Right? And so he did what probably the majority of people would do. And it's a tough thing. Like, I don't know. It wasn't an interview with him, so it wasn't like they interviewed him before and after. But I guess, on a smaller scale, and I'm not rich, but I'm saying from a standpoint of having like a very flexible job, when I kind of started doing this, I went from like in an office with, you had like, surrounded by hundreds of people. And so you could go get a drink after work, go get lunch and stuff like that. Well, now I'm like more flexible, And so I'll call my friends, say, hey, what are you doing? Like, we got to work. I'm like, oh, why do you have to work? You know. So, and I'm not comparing myself to this.
No,
to this
I can understand the same thing, because I don't have a normal schedule.
Because you have a little bit more free time, and then it's kind of like, oh, well, all right, well, I can't do this with Tim or Matt because they're working and stuff like that. But on a completely grander scale, I mean, if you're going to like a Ibiza because you could, just for the F of it, and you have the money, and just like if your normal friends who weren't billionaires before can't go, it's kind of lonely.
Yeah. I see it with like my job, obviously, with all the freelance work that I do. I'm not busy at Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. And so sometimes like, I do my own thing during the week as you do. And then I'll find that like Colin will come home from work, or my friends will get off work, and they're having sat in an office all day, and they don't want to talk to anyone. They just want to unplug. And I'm like, wait, somebody talk to me. Yeah. Like, let's go do something. I've been alone all day.
And I was listening to, it was a couple years ago, and I was actually listening to Howard Stern. He had Jerry Seinfeld on, who Jerry Seinfeld didn't do like a lot of interviews, but did.
I love Jerry Seinfeld.
And so Howard, he's a great interviewer. Howard is, and he has some really cool. I'm sweating, by the way. It's really hot. And he asked a question to Jerry. He's like, "Do you just buy whatever you want? Do you just get whatever you want?" And Jerry, and I've always remembered this. And Jerry said, he was like, "If you do that, everything is just going to get boring and lonely. If you just buy whatever you want, you want a 180-foot yacht, go buy it, and he can afford like all this stuff." Jerry Seinfeld can. He's like, you have to learn to tell yourself no, because it just makes life a little bit more enjoyable. Because if you can just get everything, then what, right? Yeah. And it's actually like kind of like a deeper philosophical question, which is like, let's say when you want that house, or you want that car, or you want that boat, or you want whatever it is, and you get it, it's nice. Then what, right? And it's something. I heard somebody say this, which was, you don't necessarily like that house, and you don't feel attached. It's because it's like a material, physical thing. You like the feeling of getting that house, that boat, that that surfboard, that whatever it is, that Walkman or that Game Boy, and you like that feeling of getting that. And how can you actually reproduce that feeling? Now that's also dangerous too, because you don't want to just try and keep getting that feeling of getting things, because that could lead you down a dangerous road. But if you can just notice that it's the feeling that you get, which is a pleasurable feeling, a pleasurable experience, and it's temporary. That helps you get through a lot of things. And so, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I can see how people get like an Amazon problem, which is because you like getting things delivered to your door. Absolutely. And I actually found myself, I drove up to the house yesterday, and I looked at the front door, there's nothing there. I was like, oh, and I was like, all right.
Relax.
I don't need to get anything from Amazon. I don't need to go buy something. But you can see it, right? And so if you can kind of catch yourself and say, yeah, that $70 million house would be nice and stuff like that. Well, it's the feeling that I'm going to get. And of course, there's some security that goes along with, houses and shelters and stuff like that. But a lot of it has to do with like that. You like that feeling that you get. And if you can reproduce that with family, you can reproduce that with friends, that's what you should be going for.
I just think it's really interesting that he's talking about how much his life has changed. I mean, through his social media, but about the fact that it not necessarily has changed for the better. Right. In some ways it just shows, and as cliche as it sounds, that money doesn't buy you everything. Money can't buy you happiness.
Right.
I mean, it's true. I mean, what good is a $70 million house if you feel alone? What good is a trip to Ibiza if you've got nobody to enjoy
There's another thing that I heard the other day. And actually, it wasn't the other day. It was another Howard Stern interview, and I forget who the person was. And he was like, God, you have so much money. Do you just not have to worry about anything? And the person said, I just no longer have to worry about finances. I still worry about my daughter dying. I still worry about this person getting cancer. It takes one worry away.
But every other worry is still there.
Yeah. And so, and the same thing, like if you think about it, like another example is all my family lives close, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's a worry for some people of not having their family live close because, am I never going to see them again? Well, they all live around me and I see them a lot. For good, bad, or worse, I see them a lot. But it takes away that one worry of, is this the last time that I see him? And I only see them like 2 or 3 times a year and stuff like that. So it's kind of simple, like, of just kind of, it's just there's a balance of things, and it kind of goes into. I texted you this earlier on my walk on the beach, which is my spectrum theory.
Yes.
And so it's something I'm working on, but it's life is like a full spectrum, and it's kind of actually like a full circle infinite spectrum.
Okay.
And so if you think just like a regular linear spectrum, you have like one end is crazy and the other end is crazy, and like everybody wants to be in the middle. Well, that middle is kind of boring, right? So you kind of have to get out of that middle a little bit to experience something. But on the far right of it. The spectrum is like really, really good, and the far left is like really, really, really bad. And but if you get all the way at the end of it, even if they're really, really good, it can actually morph you into a really, really bad person. And then you got to find your way back to kind of.
So that's why you're saying it's more of a circle than a linear.
Yeah, it's more of a circle because if you look at, because if you look at just people who, let's say, like really, really good people, and let's just say really good people. How can I say this? Let's just say somebody who's like really helped you, like a really, really good person. Well, they could actually, or maybe like a self-help person or something, like really just want to help people out, or like a trainer, just somebody who just does really good things, teachers. But they kind of then get a sense of ego where it's like, I'm really good, and I can do this for this person, I can do that, I can do this, and they kind of build up their own ego of saying, now I'm the best at making your life better, and now they look at their life and it's total
Not
shit, and so now they're on the other side, right? They've kind of come around, and so with the kind of the spectrum thing, it's kind of, you always hear about like moderation and balance, and it's so cliche to say too, but because the middle I know is boring. I know the middle is boring, but if you for your like the moderation balance is for each person, what feels right for you, and so. If you can, there's nothing wrong with him getting $2.3 billion, and there's nothing wrong with getting a $70 million house. It's just that, was that right for him? And as he might be saying, it might not
have been.
And maybe he gets a $20 million house. He could have the same thing, but it's him finding that balance in life. And it's a balance for him because that balance for him is not the balance for you. And the balance for me is definitely not the balance for anybody else.
We know.
So because. And it's the same thing with like food and everything, because people always say, what's a balance? Like, if I just go eat pizza 2 or 3 times a week, it's fine because I eat healthy for the rest of the week. Well, that may not be true for most people because, because of the way you're made up. So balance and moderation is a 1-to-1 thing. It's not a many-to-1 thing. So, I do feel bad for this guy.
I do too. I think it's kind of sad.
And I think he swung a little bit, kind of like let me just buy a whole bunch of stuff. And now this is kind of the good side of it, which is
he's now starting to learn.
He swung to kind of, let's say, a bad side of just like getting whatever he wants, and now he's saying, oh well, now maybe that's not it. And he's a young guy, so it's actually it's a really cool thing. This would have really sucked probably
if he was a much older.
If he was a much older guy, and he worked his life, and now he gets all this money, and then I have everything, and it sucks, and I'm 85 years old, and that's it. So I consider him lucky that he's actually figuring this out right now.
It's kind of amazing that he is sort of learning.
There's people in his shoes that will get the $70 million, get the $2.5 billion, buy the $70 million, and live a very mindless life and a very shallow life, and then discover what he's discovering later on in life. So he's got a really cool opportunity in front of him.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe it will sort of like start to even out, because he became a billionaire less than a year ago.
How old is he?
He's young. He's like in his early 30s.
Man,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at also like the lottery winners and stuff like that,
oh my gosh,
like how many of them actually turn out okay? It's a very, very small percentage.
Well, there's that whole, not to get too into like conspiracy theories, a lot of people believe in like a lottery curse.
Oh, no, yeah, like if you win the lottery, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think that's actually science, where it's like you get all this money because you spend your whole life, let's say, in this little, I'm not even saying little, but like in your own world, and then it's opened up to all the possibilities. It's crazy. It's kind of like you almost need to get there yourself, and it's I don't know. I think that you got to find your balance on that spectrum, on that seesaw, right?
Yeah,
on that seesaw of life.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
What a way to end it.
Right.
That was really beautiful. So, everybody, we hope that you have a great, safe, and healthy Labor Day weekend. Remember, enter the contest to win an Alternative Daily hat. We're going to give away 50 of them. Email us. The email address is podcast@thealternativedaily.com. Subject line hat. And in the email, say hi, how we're doing. We want to know how you guys are doing. And also just tell us a little bit more about what sort of topics you want to hear us cover on the podcast and on thealternativedaily.com. If you're on social media, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Just search The Alternative Daily. And of course, if you are going to listen to our podcast, you can find them on the website, on SoundCloud.com, and on iTunes.
Megan, that was
really good.
Perfect,
right?
Perfect. And I can't talk while I strum anymore. I don't know how singers do it. Do you want to go to lunch?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna take me up.
I'm thinking about Mexican food now.
I asked you last week and you said no, you couldn't go, so she stood me up. So
this week we're going, but you're gonna need to change your shirt.
I'm sweating. It's hot. It is hot. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening. You've already told us where they can find us. And remember, when you're free hat, you already covered that too. And
so we're good.
We're good.
Time to say goodbye.
We will. I'm just gonna keep dragging it on because I want people to listen to me. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye, guys. Take care.
There you go.
That was a good one.